Hi, I'm Dr. Nate Farley. I'm a prosthodontist here in Mesa, Arizona, and I work at Revive Dental Implant Center. And today what I'd like to do is help you to understand the different options that are out there once you no longer have teeth, okay? Here at Revive Dental Implant Center, the patients that we work with are either already missing all of their teeth, or they're about to miss or about to lose their teeth, and so they're looking for alternatives. And that's what I want you to better understand, is what these options are, but also some of the pros and cons between them. I'm going to start with just a traditional denture, okay? Most people are aware of what dentures are. It's just a set of teeth that fits onto your gums, fully supported by gums. Dentures have been around for a very long time. They're economic, and that's about where the benefits end. Unfortunately, aside from dentures being economic, there's not a lot of pros to speak to. Some of the cons, obviously, is that dentures can move around in your mouth. They can fall out. Food can get underneath them, and then it's like having, a rock in your shoe. And it's just troublesome. Now, I will say that if you're comparing an upper denture to a lower denture, it's the lower denture that people struggle with the most. And in an upper denture with a little bit of adhesive, especially if the denture fits really well, that is much more tolerable for most people. So that's a denture. Some of the other downsides to consider with a denture is because the prosthesis is resting on the gums and putting pressure, like a downward pressure on bone, over time, you will lose bone with a denture. And in fact, you lose about 0.5 millimeter a year in the lower jaw, and the lower jaw loses bone about 4 times faster than the upper jaw in a denture. And so that's something to consider, especially if you're younger and you've got 10, 20, 30 years ahead of you. Wearing a denture is going to lead to bone loss. And if you're really young and you've got 30, 40, 50 years ahead of you, you're going to lose a lot of bone in that time and likely get to a point where even a regular denture, or maybe even this next one I'm talking about, overdenture, might not even be an option for you anymore because of the extent of the bone loss. So we'll put that one aside. The next option to discuss is, we call it an overdenture. Some people call it a snap-in denture, a click-in denture. The reason for that is if you look inside the denture, there are little pieces inside the denture, but then there's also a couple implants. In the mandible, usually just 2 implants is enough. Sometimes people get more, but 2 is usually enough. And the idea here is that the denture goes in and it engages the implants, okay? Now, in order for this to engage the implants, it means you have to have a rubbery piece that fits onto a hard piece. And that rubbery piece, over time, it does wear down. And so one thing about this particular prosthesis compared to these other two is it does have the most maintenance, okay? Over time, you will need to, get the denture relined, but more often than not, the next thing that you're going to have to do is those little rubber pieces on the inside will wear out, and you'll come in saying, my denture doesn't fit anymore, it's not clicking anymore, what do I do? And the solution would be to replace these. And because of the on and off, these pieces right here will also in time wear down and will need replaced. What I'm pointing to is not the implant itself, it's a piece that screws onto the implant, but that eventually, maybe every 5 to 7 years, you may need a new one of these put in there. So one of the biggest pros of an overdenture over a traditional denture is that even though the denture has a little bit of movement still, it anchors it down so that lower denture doesn't want to float up and out of your mouth. And so that's a huge thing. I mean, that alone makes it worth getting 2 implants over just a denture. So one of the biggest misconceptions with an overdenture is people think that because they have 2 implants, it means it's going to stay still. It's going to stay steady and food can't get underneath it. And that's just not the case. With this kind of a prosthesis here in the back, it will move and food will get underneath it. And there's nothing I can do to get it to stay down fixed and solid. It's just how it's made. Okay, so that's one of the downsides. but it's still wonderful, but you just have to go into it with the right expectations. And so that brings us to the final one. This one goes by a lot of different names. We tend to call it an all-on-4. It's a name that's been around for many, many years. But other people call it fixed dentures, fixed teeth on implants. Hybrid is another common name. But an all-on-4 stems from a time that this became popular when somebody realized that with just 4 implants, you can successfully support a full set of teeth, okay? Nowadays, even though the people like to use the term all-on-4, most people use anywhere between 4 and 8 implants, and here at Revive Dental Implant Center, usually we're between 4 and 6 implants, which is plenty of support for a set of teeth. The downsides to this, there are a couple. One of them is cost. It's more expensive than the other ones. Another downside is that unlike, like if you look at this denture and you see this piece right here, we call this a flange, but it's a piece of plastic that fits up between your gums and your lip. And when you've lost your teeth and the bone shrinks a little bit, you do lose a little bit of that support to your lip. And this flange can return that support. Now, not everybody needs that support. It really comes down to your anatomy and what is required for you. But with a fixed thing, because it can't come out of your mouth, it stays in all the time, you have to be able to clean around it. So we can't have something like this or it will not work for you. And because of that, because of the lack of that flange, you won't get that same lip support up in here. Rarely do we have that cause a problem for people, but there have been a handful of cases over the years where somebody wanted something fixed like this, but they actually needed that support, okay? If that's the case for you, talk to us because there are some alternatives that are a little bit unique. But going back to the pros and the cons, those are some of the cons. The pro of this is that it is the closest thing that we can do to get you back something that looks and functions like natural teeth. It's fixed completely. It's not supported by your gums like these two options. It's supported completely by your bone by way of the dental implant. And so once the implants are in and we build this, we put it in your mouth and little tiny screws go right down through it, lock it into place, and then we put a little filling right over that hole. So it's like having natural teeth again because it's always in and it's always stable. That's probably one of the biggest benefits to this option. It's like having your own teeth back. And I mean, how much more can you want than having teeth fixed in your mouth? By having them fixed in your mouth, obviously you can chew whatever you want. You're going to have the best chewing efficiency. By having teeth fixed in your mouth, your confidence that your teeth aren't moving is through the roof. You can talk, you can laugh, you can do whatever you want and the teeth stay in place. And that's a big plus for you. One thing that I wanted to just point out is I've got these 2 models here. This one is here to represent what's called a prototype. So one thing nice about the way that we at Revive Dental Implant Center do this treatment is that it's all done on the computer. And so we can design something on the computer and mill or 3D print it and have you wear this home. You can function on it, you can eat on it, and you can try it out almost like a test drive before you give us the thumbs up and we start making the final teeth. And as you can see in the end, they're very much the same. Another thing that I wanted to discuss with you is the difference in materials between these 2 different prosthetics. If you looked at this one right here, you can see on the underside, you can see that it's very different. This one has a lot more metal up against your gums, whereas this one just has a few select spots of metal. The reason for that is that this one here, if I were to take the teeth off, you can see that there's a metal framework underneath. This is titanium, milled right here in our office. And then it's a piece of zirconia that has been made to perfectly fit right over that titanium framework. And then if you look on here, it also has this beautiful pink porcelain that is added by our artists. And these 2 pieces are cemented together. Now, in comparison to that, this here is all one piece of zirconia. The whole thing is zirconia, minus there's these little pieces right here that are glued into the zirconia. So one of the obvious differences between them is that this has tiny little pieces glued into zirconia. This has a whole frame, and this whole thing is cemented onto the top. We don't see this happen a lot, but it's out there that sometimes people have problems that these metal pieces come out, the cement breaks down, whereas something like this, very, very rare for all of that cement. That's a lot of cement to break down to the point that your teeth are coming out. And so it's something to consider. Strength, though, between the two. Like, this is strong, but this is like indestructible. This particular prosthesis, because it's so strong. I mean, we've been doing this for years. We've done any kind of teeth you can imagine, we've built. And as time has gone by, as we've built hundreds and hundreds of these, what we found is that this one has never broken, whereas all these other ones, for some reason or another, has broken. And because of that, at Revive Dental Implant Center, we offer a lifetime warranty on this style of teeth. And to be honest, seldom do we do anything like this, and all of our patients get this prosthesis, okay? It's all we do for people because we want something that is going to be the best for you, the most stable, meaning durable. We want your teeth to last a lifetime, but also give you the confidence that they're not going to break. That you don't have to worry of, if I eat this particular food, will it cause something to break? I didn't always make it this way. Okay, when I was right out of school, this was not what was taught. We were using denture teeth with acrylic on a bar. And that prosthesis, we could make it look fantastic, but often we would have people come in with a single tooth broken out. And after somebody has made such an investment, I hate putting you in a situation where you have one tooth break out, because then forever after that, you're always going to wonder, if I bite into something hard, will that tooth break out? If I do this, will that tooth break out? And that's not how I want you to live your life. I want you to be able to live your life with confidence that you can do whatever you want and your teeth are not going to break. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with me talking about these different options. Obviously, the best way to know what's right for you and to get all of your questions answered would be to come see us for a consultation. So I hope to see you soon.